Okay, so today we go with the operating system. Okay,
Yes, sir.
uh, in tomorrow's session, in tomorrow's session we go with the different like process management or memory. Today we complete the process management, and then tomorrow maybe memory management and then test management. Okay,
All
so
right, sir.
the main focus area for today is the process management. Yesterday we already completed this uh, device driver and utility software. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so let me move to the next slide. So this is the slide borrowed from my previous slides. It's defined what is operating system. So an operating system is a system program that manages the computer resources. So this is the two thing, most important thing here. One is that manage the computer resources, okay, and provide
Mhm.
common
Common services.
services. Okay, so what are the different resources inside your computer system? If anybody asks, what are the different resources? So some most important resource are CPU, your processor. This is your processor, and then your memory. Here the memory means your RAM, okay,
Mhm.
and your cache memory, of course. And then I/O devices. It's like your hard disk, your display or monitor, uh, okay, your
Yes, sir.
keyboard, okay, and any or network or any other input output devices. So these are the different computer resources, okay, and operating system manage these resources. How? And while managing these resources, it provides you some common services, okay. So when,
Yes, sir.
please remember this, uh, please remember this sequence here. uh, when your operating system manages the CPU, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
acting as a process. This is known as process management. Okay, basically it's dealing with your CPU. Okay, so when your
Yes, sir.
operating system manage the CPU, it's basically managing the CPU, your CPU. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so that is the process management. Memory management, when it's managing your RAM. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so when it's managing your RAM, it's known as memory management. Okay, and
Yes, sir.
what about this file or disk management? When it's managing your hard disk, managing the hard disk. Okay, so while your operating system, so managing the CPU is known as process management. Managing your RAM is known as memory management. Managing your hard disk is known as disk management. Okay.
Sir.
So today we discussed about this process management, this thing. Okay. So what is the meaning of process management? Basically here we deals with your CPU. So inside the process management, what is the resources? Resources, my resource is CPU. Okay. What are the
CPU.
services? Services related to process management is provided by the operating system. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
good. Let me move to the next slide. So before moving, what are the different services provided by your operating system? So your operating system provides you a nice user interface. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Windows provide you a user interface. Uh, it's provide you some. It execute your program by just clicking on some icon. You can execute a particular program, because if it's not able to execute some program, then your operating system is just useless thing. Okay, and then it you can perform some input output operations like copying in USB drives or moving something from one location to another location. So these are the IO operations. Similarly, the file system manipulation. from one directory, one folder to another folder. So we go deep in these things in the my next presentation. Communication is related to your network things, and then if some error happens, it's not just shut down your system, it gracefully show you the error message that something went wrong. Okay, so these are the different services as a user we get. Okay, and then services so these are some helpful to the users as end users, and then to efficient function of your computer system. Remember, operating system, one name of is also defined as a resource manager. Okay, why operating system is also known as resource manager? Because why? It manages the resources. Yes. Okay, because it manages the resources. So these are the some services, and then how if you managing the resources, it's very important that you focus on the efficiency of those resources also. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If you are if suppose you are a manager and you are working under your management 4 or 5 persons working, so you must make sure that they are efficiently work. So operating system manages a lot of devices. So it's the responsibility of the operating system to efficiently manage these resources. So how it's managing these things? Like resource allocation. How much particular resource? What are the resources? Resources are your CPU, your memory, okay, and then your CPU, memory, network, or some input output operation. So these are your different resources. So these resources allocated to the different programs. So this resource allocation should be efficient, and this is the one role. And next role is the protection and security. Suppose you are using your system and it automatically delete all your data. So that is not a good thing. Earlier in the Windows, you may not know, but earlier in Windows 98, you heard about this Windows 98 or not?
Yes, sir. I know about Windows 98.
Yes. So Windows 98 is in these systems. It happens a lot of the time that you just are using and all the data is gone. Nobody knows what happens. So now the systems are more gracefully showing the things what is happening. So protection and security is one of the things that is provided by the operating system. So these are the different services that operating system provides. Okay. Some of these services is provided to the end user, like user interface, and just by clicking or moving files and directly from one location to the another location. So these are the some services that end user gets, and then under the hood, it manages efficiently managing all the resources and provide you the protections and security. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me move to the next slide. Okay. So let me start discussing about the user interface. Okay. So this is known as graphical user interface or GUI. Most of the time, we just using the GUI or graphical user interface. But even the Windows is providing you a command line interface, or sometimes known as CLI. Okay. So what is this graphical user interface? Is a Windows system with a pointing device to direct input output by just clicking your mouse, choose from some menu, make selections, keyboard to enter the text. You can use your keyboard to enter some text. Okay. So these are the things your graphical user interface provides. In command line interface, you just have to write a command and a method for entering them. Okay. Keyboard for typing commands in a specific format with specific options. Okay, in a nutshell, what these two things are doing, in graphical user interface, you have icon for all the things. Like here, you have an icon, you have an icon, you have icon, and you have to just click on these icons. And that's it. Once you click, you get your means particular program opens, then you can type something, whatever you try to do, you can do. In command line interface, you have to remember the name of these executable files. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you must have to always remember these names. That's the one problem in command line interface. Therefore, a lot of people try to avoid the command line interface, because for everything you must remember actually what command you can use. Okay. So, and remembering a command that is a text name is a difficult thing instead of just clicking at some particular icon. So therefore, the graphical user interface prevails. So a lot of users utilizing this graphical user interface, and command line interface is just some code developer or computer science experts, they are using this command line interface. Okay, because a lot of people try to avoid this command line interface because they have to remember these text command list. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm just giving you an example. You have a program named Ping in the yesterday section I am discussing. So Ping is trying to find this, these two things. Your computer has an internet up or not, internet up or down. Okay.
Yes.
This command is used for this thing. Good. If you have an icon, suppose this is your icon for Ping command. Clicking on this particular icon is an easy thing for a new user. Then remembering this Ping, open the terminal, a command prompt, and then writing this Ping thing. Yes or no?
Yes.
So for beginners, this thing is easy, but for efficient use, this thing is easy. Because under the hood, when you click on something, actually these both things are the same. But remembering this is a difficult thing. I will give you a lot of more example in other classes. Okay. Let me move to the next slide. Okay. So I'm coming out. Let me complete this thing here. So what in this figure is depicted is this. Try to figure out this part here. There is no PowerPoint. Okay. It's related to program execution. Here, I open my start menu and click on this PowerPoint icon. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this thing happened at this place. And this is my task manager. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
in my task manager, there is no PowerPoint program is running currently. And I open my start menu and just click on this PowerPoint icon. What happens? This PowerPoint window opens. Yes or no?
Yes.
This is the PowerPoint window. And see here, this part. Let me zoom. Is it possible here? See here, this. You see, Microsoft PowerPoint 32-bit. It's utilizing 0% of the CPU because currently it's just open and I'm not doing anything here. So see this CPU utilization 0%. How much memory it requires? 64.7 MB. How much disk space it requires? 0 MB. Network? No network, 0 MB here. Okay. So this particular process. So see, let me zoom out. Okay. So when you click on something, some icon, what happens? These different resources are allocated like CPU, memory, disk, or network. Okay. And these things are allocated by whom? By your operating system. So when you just click on any icon inside in your window or GUI, your operating system behind the scene allocates the CPU, memory, network to that particular program. Okay. So please, and one more thing I'm just giving at this location here. Here, this thing is known as program. Okay. This is known as program, PowerPoint program, or OneNote program, or Word program, any program. Once you just double click here, and when the program is moved at this task manager, inside your task manager, it opens. When this window opens, it is no more its program. It's known as process. Okay. Please remember this thing. When it is program, when it is resides, just stay inside your disk. It's not executing. Then it is known as program. Once it gets your CPU, it's moved to main memory. It's become a process. So program is program means idle entity. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And process means this is active. Once it is active, this is your process. Okay. So let me move to the next slide. Okay. So how this program executed? So at the very first step, okay, when you click at this, okay, suppose you have the PowerPoint example. I'm taking this. This is your PowerPoint icon. Where it is stay? If you just right click and go to the location, it stay inside your C drive. Yes or no? C drive sub location. So normally your executable programs is inside stay inside this, your hard disk. Okay, and then you double click on this particular icon. You click on the executable program. Then this program from your hard disk move to your RAM or main memory. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So program loaded into the main memory. And once it's loaded inside the main memory, now this is known as process. Okay. Once it is loaded inside your main memory, your program becomes process.
Process.
Good. And once it's become process, the CPU allocated to that process. Okay. Because without CPU, this program can't execute. So CPU allocated to that. So see, allocation means a resource allocation. Yes or no? CPU is the resource,
Yes.
hardware resource. It's allocated to a particular program. So here you are process management. This is a process management. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Here program loaded into main memory allocated to your
CPU.
program. Okay, main memory allocated to your program because program moved to the main memory. So main memory allocated to the program. Main memory is my resource, and who is allocating it? Operating system allocating it. So operating system manages this main memory. Operating system manages this CPU. Once the CPU allocated to the process execute. It may wait for something like if you open your PowerPoint presentation, it's waiting for you write something or if you create a new slide, do something. So process may wait for some input or output, and once it finishes, process finish its execution and it exits. So this is the normal way of executing a program. You click on a particular icon that is inside your disk, hard disk. Programs move from your hard disk to main memory. It becomes a process. Process gets a CPU. It may execute something and then it waits for some input or output from the user. And once it's completed all the things, it finishes its execution and get out and release all these resources. This main memory, this CPU is just returned back to operating system. Getting the things?
Sir.
Any doubt?
It's straightforward because from the executable program, it goes straight to you click on the program, it's loaded into the main memory, and with the main memory, it becomes a process and then continues on to the CPU and allocates, and it goes on from there.
Good. Let me move to the next slide. So here I'm just giving you the complete picture. So this is your program inside your disk. Okay, this is the step number 1. Okay, it's a program here. You just click it here. Okay, it goes to the main memory. Okay, here's the main memory. Now it is known as process. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is new state. We call it a state. Okay, and then okay. So it's not the only one program. Your computer, you may open the multiple programs. It's not only one. Maybe you have a program number 1, program number 2, program number 3. You have a lot of program on hard disk, and maybe you just click on the 5 program. So these programs moves to main memory. So main memory have a lot of processes because once the program moves to the main memory, it's known as process. So these processes are waiting for your CPU, because if, okay, suppose you open your Chrome, then your PowerPoint, and then maybe your browser, not browser, some media player. Okay, so you just open 2 or 3 programs, and these all the programs without CPU they can't run. So CPU is exist at this place. So these are just in waiting queue. These are aligned in a queue. Okay, so these all the processes are just waiting. Okay, and then your operating system take a particular process and give it a CPU. So while they are waiting for the CPU, this is known as they are in ready state. Okay, they are ready to execute, but they don't have the CPU. Once they get the CPU, they move from the ready state to running state, because now they get the CPU. Yes. Okay. If everything is normal, they complete their execution and then just exit. So what is the normal scenario? You just click on a particular program becomes a process, move in the main memory, it's wait for your CPU. Okay, it gets the CPU, go in the running state, and it finishes its execution and exit. So this is the normal scenario, one day. What are the other scenario possible? Other scenario may be, okay, if in the ready state.
Sir,
yes.
Why is the time quantum expired? That was like the one thing.
Quantum
expired.
I am coming on that thing. Okay, so I'm just describing this particular pathway. This pathway. Okay, get the CPU. Now, suppose this process starts from here, goes in the new state. It's waiting for your in the ready state for the CPU. It gets the CPU. Okay, like you open a PowerPoint and then you're just not doing anything on the PowerPoint. You just open it and leave that. So how long your operating system allocated the CPU to this your PowerPoint thing, your PowerPoint presentation, and you are not doing anything. So okay, at one time only one process can run if you have only one core. If you have 4 cores, you can execute 4 processes. Okay, so if you don't have, suppose you have 4 cores and you have opened the 8 processes, and your PowerPoint is number 7 process, it gets a CPU, but you are not doing anything, so your CPU's time is just wasted. Yes or no? Because it's useless. You allocated a CPU to a particular process, and that process is doing nothing. It's just waiting for user input. So at that point, what happens? Your operating system move that particular process in the waiting state. Okay, and it allocates the CPU to some other process. And once its input output is completed, whatever thing it's waiting, once it's completed, it moves to again in the ready state. Okay, and it again gets the CPU. So it may be that they move in this particular cycle here, this day, in this cycle, and once it's finished things, it gets out. So this is the second possibility. Okay, good. So first possibility is program you click, move to in the new ready main memory. From main memory, it goes in the queue. It's waiting for the CPU. It gets the CPU and executed its instruction and exit. Another one is that it moves from the disk to main memory. It's ready for the CPU. It gets the CPU, but it's taking too long for some user input or output. So your operating system moves this particular process in the waiting state, where it completes its input or output thing, and then once it's complete. So they see here, it's waiting for some input output, and here it finishes its input output. So once it's finished this input output instructs operations, it just move in the ready state, and from the ready state, it again go in the running state. It's completed its operations and exit. So this is the 2 possible way. Now let me take some other color so that. Let me this color. So now, what is this time quantum thing? Okay, So suppose you are executing a program, a particular program suppose takes 10 seconds, although it's a two means it's a huge time. But suppose P1 takes 10 seconds and you have P2, P3 up to P100. These all the programs takes 1 second. Okay?
Yes.
You are getting my point or not?
Somewhat. You could continue with it.
Okay. Screen. Let me open up white script here. Suppose you have a one program P1 that takes 10 seconds. Okay, and you have a 10 more program. Suppose P10. These all the programs take 1 second each. Okay, if somehow or other this particular process P1 get the CPU. Okay, it allocates CPU is allocated to this particular program P1, and it starts execution. Then these all the programs are waiting for how long? P2 wait for 10 seconds, then this wait for 11 seconds, this wait for 12 seconds, and so on. Yes or no? So generally, what happens if a particular process that has long execution time, if it has a long execution time, then these small processes are waiting for a very long time. Yes or no? Like if you go in a bank and a person which is suppose you go as a bank counter. Okay, so here this is a bank counter. This is the employee serving all the people, and you have one person here in the queue. Here one person, here one person. These are the different persons inside in a queue. Okay. And suppose this particular person, serving this particular person takes 1 hour. Okay, what these people say? These people say, we just need 1 second. Please do my work, and then you just in between you serving this particular person because this particular person taking too long. Yes or no?
Yes.
You're getting my point? Suppose a person who is in front of you, it taking 1 hour and you have just 1 minute work. So you just request that, please give me 1 minute, complete my job, and this person requires 1 hour. So after me, just give it. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Technically, because your thing wouldn't really take long and their thing taking long, so it wouldn't really make sense for you to wait that long when it's just a 1 minute something you gotta do.
Yes. So this is a particular algorithm in operating system that is known as round robin. Okay. What it's doing? It's something like this. It allocates a particular time. Suppose maybe 2 seconds, or maybe its amount is very small, not 2 seconds, very small. But I'm just taking example of 2 seconds. Suppose it is like this. It allocates 2 seconds to each process, and if that process finishes in 2 seconds, good. So in one go, it allocates 2 seconds to this process. So it requires 8 more seconds, but it just moves to the next process. Okay, it need 1 second. And here these 2 seconds. So after 1 second, this process can get out and it moves to the next process. So if maximum amount it gives to a particular process is 2 seconds. And if that particular process complete its work in 2 seconds, good. Otherwise, just wait for next round. So that is the meaning of this round robin. It goes in round each time, just giving each process how much? 2 seconds. So this particular time, this second is known as time quantum. Okay. This is known as time quantum. You get this thing? So
yes,
now say this thing. So if the round robin algorithm implemented, what happens? This process allocated to CPU and in running state. But if the time quantum expires, whatever the time quantum, maybe 2 seconds, 2 nanoseconds, or 2 milliseconds, once this time quantum expires, this process is moved from running state to ready state. And once it finishes with all the process in the ready state, it again serves this particular process. Okay. So if the time quantum expires, the process moves from running state to the ready state. So that is the meaning of this time quantum expire. Okay. Good.
Oh, all right, sir.
Okay, let me move to the next slide. So, what is the process? Process is a program in execution. It's already clear. Program is the passive entity, whereas process is an active entity. It's just executing. Program is inside. It stays on the disk. Okay. What are these different states? New. The process is just being created. Instructions are being executed in running state. Waiting means the process is waiting for some event to occur. These are the things. If you move in the previous slide, see everything is written here. When it's a waiting state, once it's waiting for some input output, it is in waiting state. Once it finishes IO, it goes into the ready state. So these things are mentioned here. The process. So in waiting state, the process is waiting for some event to occur. In ready state, the process is waiting to be assigned to a processor or CPU. Exit state, the process has finished its execution. Okay, so these are the different process states that is displayed in this figure and described in this particular slide. Any question up to this point, Mark?
No, sir.
Good.
Straightforward.
So good. So I think this is the last slide. So we finished with the process management thing. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. So let me